I want to see how much you already know when it comes to some perplexing grammar because, well, English grammar, it can be a little tricky. There are many rules, structures, nuances. So learning this and gaining a better understanding of this perplexing grammar will definitely help you reach your fluency goals. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English. And if you would like to improve your grammar, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. So if you would like to access and get these lesson notes right next to me, check out the link down below in the description. You can join my email community. If you're already a part of it, then check your inbox. I have sent them to you. So this is a quiz lesson, and I would like you to participate. Write your answers in the chat, in the comments. I love hearing from you. This is, after all, it is interactive English. I want you to take part in these lessons. That is what it is all about. So here is your first question. I want you to identify the incorrect use of the subjunctive mood. So which one is used incorrectly? A, I wish he were here. B, I wish if I were you, I would talk to her. Or C, if I was you, I would talk to her. What do you think? You can some of this is going to be multiple choice, so it'll be very quick to respond, but I'll give you just a moment to think of the answer, and then of course I'll tell you and talk about why and try to give you this information so that it'll help you get a better understanding of what we're talking about. So looking at this, I didn't think it was a trick question, even though sometimes if you're taking an exam, this really trips people up because I asked you to identify the incorrect use. So which one is not correct? And I hope that you said C. If I was you, I would talk to her. So this is not the correct use of the subjunctive mood. So I think many of you rock that. Excellent. Lolly, Takayo, Julia, perfect. All right, great to see so many familiar people. So this is a quick explanation right here. With the subjunctive mood, were should be used instead of was in hypothetical statements like if I were you. So it is the subjunctive because, as you can see, the subject and the verb do not agree. I were. And that is what makes it the subjunctive. So the other two, they work, all right? I wish he were here, and if I were you, I would talk to her. The next question, right here, choose the correct form of the word. What do you think? How can we between the two? So I'm giving you the word different, but I want you to choose the correct form. And some of these I think are going to be a little easier than others. I would say in general, this is definitely upper intermediate to advanced grammar, the different things that we're going to be talking about. But how would you complete this sentence? How can we between the two? I will say that a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, even though some of them may seem simple, this is when people make small, minor mistakes when it comes to either speaking or writing, which are the two productive skills. So in this case, I'm giving you different. This is the adjective. But in the case of our question, we're missing a verb. So basically, I'm asking you to figure out, well, what other word in the word family can complete that sentence? And if we want to change this to a verb, then the answer would be differentiate. How can we differentiate between the two? So the word differentiate, this is the correct verb form. And I've given you other parts of the word family down below. The noun, difference. The verb, differentiate, the adjective, different, and the adverb, differently. Now, looking at these two pictures, you can see that, well, one is an alligator and the other is a crocodile. And basically the way that I think that you differentiate between the two is crocodiles have a longer and thinner snout than alligators. That is one way to differentiate between the two. All right, you can let me know if you got that correct or answering these questions. Hit that like button. Let me know. Those hearts, I love seeing them. That tells me that, okay, you are participating, actively participating in the lesson. What do you think? Choose the correct structure with parallel structure. So which of these sentences is an example of parallel structure? A, she likes reading books, writing essays, and to study history. B, she likes reading books, writing essays, and studying history. And C, she likes to read books, to write essays, and studying history. What do you think? Now, I feel like in this case, if I were just to ask you, okay, what is parallel structure? I think often people might say, well, I'm not really sure, but looking at these sentences, I feel like you're probably going to be able to piece it together and choose the correct sentence that is a good example of parallel structure. So as I went through and was reading those sentences, and even if you're looking at them right now, I feel like you're probably able to tell, like, okay, the sentences are not the same. So the correct answer is B. She likes reading books, writing essays, and studying history. Excellent, Ava, Miranda, Lali, Edelon. So basically, parallel structure requires all elements in a list to be in the same form. So in this case, we're talking about gerunds. Reading, writing, studying, we're using the gerund. And in those other two sentences, there was an infinitive that was in there, like that last one, to read books, to write essays, and studying history. It just, if you're not going to follow parallel structure, it's just going to make it sound a bit awkward and really clunky if you're either writing or speaking. So this is something that is very important and that you should follow. The next question that I have for you, I think this one may be a little trickier. Choose the correct form. She would rather you in here. So I'm giving you the two words, not smoke, and I just want you to complete the sentence. Are you going to complete the sentence with A, don't smoke, B, not smoke, C, didn't smoke, and D, not to smoke? What do you think? I say this is tricky or a little trickier, and I will explain why. But there is, one correct answer between those four choices that you have. What do you think? A, B, C, D. She would rather you in here. So see, this one I think is a little trickier. I see a little bit of a mix of responses, but the correct answer is C, didn't smoke. So basically, after would rather, we use the past tense for hypothetical situations. So the past tense did not, didn't smoke is the correct form. Now, I say it's a little tricky because in casual colloquial English, sometimes people don't follow grammar rules. We just talked about the subjunctive mood and somebody saying, well, if I were you, I would do this. It is not uncommon to hear somebody break this rule and they just say, if I was you. So that is a form that you will hear. And in this case, I would say the same thing. You may hear somebody say, well, she would rather you not smoke in here. And to give you an example, if you want to compare the usage of some of these different phrases, I think a great resource is Ngram Viewer. This is just a collection of written English. And basically, if you have a couple of different phrases and you want to know, well, which one is more commonly used, you can put them in there and they'll graph it for you. So you get kind of an idea as to which one is more commonly used in English. So I put in the three statements: would rather you didn't, would rather you not, would rather you don't. And as you can see, would rather you did not, would rather you didn't is the common response. But would rather you not is also used, and it gives you an idea as to the difference between those and the frequency in which they are used. So this is a great resource, Ngram Viewer. I would check it out, especially if you are writing and you're trying to think about, well, what's the best way to word a sentence and which phrase would you like to use? Here is the next question. Choose the best verb tense to express the following. I am waiting for the bus for over 20 minutes. B, I have waited for the bus for over 20 minutes. And C, I have been waiting for the bus for over 20 minutes. Which, you probably see in my instruction that I did not use correct. I used the word best. Choose the best verb tense to express this idea right here. And I will tell you why I think this is the best verb tense in this context. Somebody is at a bus stop and they're waiting, and then they say this sentence. And I think they would accurately express this idea when they say sentence C. I have been waiting for the bus stop for over 20 minutes. So in this case, I would recommend that you use the present perfect progressive or present perfect continuous, because it expresses an action that basically it started in the past, it is continued to the present, and will likely continue into the future. And the one thing that I also want to point out when it comes to the present perfect continuous is that there really is an emphasis on the duration of time that this has been going on. So when I think of somebody saying this sentence, they are perhaps frustrated. The bus is late, and you're like, oh, I've been waiting for the bus for 20 minutes. And you want to emphasize the duration of time. That is why I think that the present perfect continuous is the best answer, because technically you could use the present perfect. Yeah, I've waited for the bus for over 20 minutes. But again, in this case, I think you should stick with the present perfect continuous or present perfect progressive. It's the same thing. What do you think about this question right here? Which of the following sentences uses the correct form of who and whom? I know that we've done these grammar quizzes before, and typically I will throw in a question when it comes to who and whom. So for this quiz, this is your question. So which of the following sentences uses the correct form? A, whom is going to the party? B, who is going to the party? Or C, I don't know who he is. What do you think? A, B, or C, the correct form of who and whom? So I think this is good. If you all are doing well, that is perfect. Again, let me know. Hit that like button. That tells me that you're learning new things. And one thing I want to reiterate, even if you know many of these answers, you're getting them correct, that is perfect. But still, when you're having a conversation, you're not necessarily thinking about grammar rules. I'll still hear people make slight speaking mistakes. But as you continue to practice this, go over it again and again and again, then in the future, you are just less likely to make those same mistakes. So the answer is B, and I think many of you rock that one. Who is going to the party? So who is used as the subject of the sentence, while whom is used as the object. So the correct sentence asks about the subject performing the action. Who is going to the party? In this case, who is the subject of the sentence? I think that is, even though these can be a little tricky, I feel like that is just a pretty simple explanation. Who, subject, whom, object. All right. What do you think? That was, I think many of you got that B, perfect. Social vibe, well done. Lolly, great to see you, nice. Let's see, choose the sentence that uses a conditional correctly. So I'm asking you to identify the correct conditional sentence. Is the answer A, if I would have known, I would have helped you? B, if I had known, I would have helped you? Or C, if I knew, I would have helped you? What do you think? Which of these sentences is the correct conditional sentence? And for bonus points, you can tell me which conditional is this sentence. Is it the first conditional, second conditional, third conditional? What do you think? That would be my bonus question for you. So looking at these sentences, I hope, and I think many of you did, choose B. If I had known, I would have helped you. So this is the third conditional. I saw some of you got that as well. It's talking about a hypothetical situation in the past. Something has already happened. It cannot be changed. It is hypothetical. And in that case, you're going to use had plus the past participle and then you're going to, that is going to be in your if statement. And then the result, you're going to use would have plus the past participle. So that is an example of the third conditional. I don't think this is too tricky, but still I think this is something that, a nuance in English that is important to understand. Choose the best question for the following statement when having a casual conversation. So somebody makes this statement, my friend is traveling to South America. Which question do you think is the best? If you're talking with someone, they say, well, yeah, my friend is traveling to South America, and then you ask this question, are you going to say A, where are he or she going? B, where are they going? Or C, where is he or she going? Which of these questions would you ask when having a casual conversation? Notice I have said casual conversation several times. I'm trying to emphasize that. So this is a little, I don't want to say tricky, but again, I would say more of a nuance, because in this case, I would say I think you should ask B, where are they going? So the thing that I want to point out, the nuance, is the singular they. So in this case, if somebody says, my friend is traveling to South America. Let's say that I have never met your friend. I don't know if your friend is a man or a woman, so I'm not really sure which pronoun to use. Now, typically you would use he or she. But if you are in a conversation, it is not common. You're more likely to see this construction in writing. But even when you're writing, if you end up using it quite a bit, it just is going to seem clunky. And that is why I think it is preferred to use the singular they. So you can use the singular they. It's become the pronoun of choice to replace he and she in cases where the gender of the antecedent, the pronoun refers to, is unknown. In this case, my friend would be the unknown, and in that case, I'm just going to use they. Where are they going? The reason why I emphasize casual conversation, because you might find in more formal circumstances, they say, no, don't use the singular they, use he or she. However, I would challenge that notion with the following, because even this little excerpt, the Associated Press settles the matter. So I'll just read this quickly. It says, while it may seem awkward to use the singular they, the Associated Press weighed in on the matter in March of 2017. It announced that the AP style book will accept the plural they, them, and their to refer to a singular antecedent when the alternative wording is awkward or clumsy. I just mentioned if you keep saying, he and she, he and she, he and she, it is going to sound a bit awkward. So I feel like even the other more formal styles, especially if you're talking about university, academic writing, MLA, APA, it is becoming more and more accepted. But I would say in casual conversation, this is something that you will definitely hear. I end up using it all the time, and it just, it's natural. Here is your next question. Which sentence uses reported speech correctly? So we're talking about reported speech. Which one is using it correctly? A, she said that she had visited the museum yesterday. B, she said that she has visited the museum yesterday. Or C, she said she visited the museum yesterday. And I meant that in C, there should be another quotation at the end of it. It was supposed to be quotes around that. She visited the museum yesterday. What do you think? A, B, or C? I feel like looking at these examples, it's probably a little easier to spot when thinking about, okay, reported speech. How do we structure this? And as you can see, many of you, awesome. I can't get anything by you today. A is the correct answer. She said that she had visited the museum yesterday. This is an example of reported speech, because in reported speech, the past perfect had visited is used to describe an action completed before the reporting verb said. So A is the correct answer. Excellent. Well done. Well done, everyone. I'm gonna hopefully let's see. Let's see if you get all of them, and if some of you just got all of them correct today. That'll be very impressive. What do you think? Complete the sentence with the correct verb tense. By the time you arrive, I my work. So I'm giving you the main verb, which is finish. And I want you to use that verb, complete the sentence, so that it's correct. By the time you arrive, I my work. And I was about to give you a hint. I don't think I need to, and I feel like that would make it a little too easy in that case. So one of the key words, or the phrase, that dependent clause, by the time you arrive. So that tells us really we're talking about something in the future. And the correct verb form would be the future perfect tense. By the time you arrive, I will have finished my work. So this future tense construction, it is not the most common construction that you're just going to use all the time, every day. But conversationally, this is a sentence that you might say to someone when having, hey, by the time you arrive, look, I'll have finished my work. I'll have finished. So we're going to use the present perfect tense. It's used to express an action that will be completed before a specific time in the future. So it's basically like we're putting that point out there, or that time in the future, and then saying something, all right, is going to occur before that. And I've given you a list of 10 example sentences just to reinforce the future perfect tense. I'll go ahead and just read a few of them for you. Like number 1, by next Friday. Okay, I'm establishing that point in the future. By next Friday, I will have finished my report. Will have finished. Or if I say in 5 years, okay, that is my point in the future. In 5 years, I will have graduated from university. Will have graduated. One more, another phrase that I think people say, especially now that we're in December, by the end of the year. All right, it's coming up. By the end of the year, that's my point in the future, she will have saved enough money to buy a car. Will have saved. So just something to keep in mind. We're talking about the future perfect continuous. And I think just reading and going through some of these example sentences just really reinforces the grammar. That is something I would definitely recommend that you do. Try to make it a habit. Read each day an article, a book, because you're just seeing the grammar, the structure, and you're really learning it passively. Choose the correct sentence. There's only, well, you get a 50-50 chance. There's 2 choices. So I want you to choose the correct sentence. A, neither the teacher nor the students was aware of the change. Or B, neither the teacher nor the students were aware of the change. Which one is the correct sentence? Perhaps I think maybe everybody's doing a much better job today. Typically, I don't really do many multiple choice quizzes. Often it's like just a fill in the blank. So possibly giving you this multiple choice probably makes it a bit easier. So just going through these sentences, I can see, well done, Varade, Angela, Takayo, Lali, Sampa, just throwing out some quick shout outs. John, well done. B is the correct answer. Neither the teacher nor the students were aware of the change. So we're talking about the phrase neither nor. So when the subjects are joined by neither nor, the verb agrees with the subject closer to the verb. So in this case, we're talking about students. That is the subject closer to the verb. Students is plural, so we're going to use were. Students were. Neither the teacher nor the students were aware of the change. Great job, everyone. Perfect. Again, if you got that, just let me know. Hit that like button. It tells me, all right, you guys are perfecting and fine-tuning your grammar skills. Choose the correct option to complete the sentence. And I don't think this is too tricky. We'll leave as soon as the train. This is the sentence. How are you going to best complete this sentence what are you going to say? A, arrives, B, will arrive, C, has arrived, or D, arrived. Will leave as soon as the train. One thing I think that would help, especially as we go through these, is to just say the sentence to yourself. Say it out loud and just see which of these words comes out. So I think if you were to say this sentence, we'll leave as soon as the train arrives. A is the correct answer. Great job, everyone. You guys are rocking this. So for the explanation, we're going to use arrive when we're talking about future events. We use the present simple tense after time expressions, like as soon as. So this is my time expression. We're talking about in the future because you see that we will leave as soon as the train arrives. That is our present simple. So this is, again, I think you did a great job. I will say this is perplexing. It is a little challenging, difficult. I do hear people make small mistakes when it comes to either speaking or writing. And the more you practice, reinforce this, I think it's just going to help you reduce those mistakes greatly. So if you knew a lot of this, it's good review. Again, if you would like to get these lesson notes, click on the link down in the description. Join our email community. I send out a lot of different notes, resources, lesson updates, course information. So please join, and it's always just great to hear from you. But I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for participating, and I will see you next time for another lesson. So long.